Alright guys, welcome to today's edition of Free Talk. My name is Samuel, as you all know, and on my left is...
I am Shegsy.
Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Bewa.
Hello guys, I'm Yomi Israel.
So, back to today's edition of Free Talk. We bring back a new dimension, a new thing to you. So, some people say partiality among children makes some children to be wayward. So we are here to talk about reasons children become wayward. So I will start from Bewa. What do you think are the reasons why children become wayward?
I would say reasons why children become wayward varies from one family to another.
Okay.
Like you rightly said, partiality, like favoritism among children can be one of the reasons, but not the main or the major one. So I would like to talk about favoritism.
Favoritism. Can you define favoritism?
Okay, favoritism, to the best of my knowledge, is when you show when you give one child more privilege than the other.
When you talk about privilege, can you explain more that privilege, like?
Yeah, okay. Like in some families, for instance, excuse me, some parents believe, okay, this child is a female child, or this is a male child. This is the only male child among my children. So due to that, they tend to give him more treats, special treats than the other children. Favoritism is one of the reasons why some children become wayward. Like maybe the child is a beneficiary of favoritism or not. Either of the two parties can, will I say take the advantage or become wayward due to that.
Nice. Can I ask from Yomi too, what are the reasons you think children become wayward?
I think, like she said, there's a lot of reasons why children can be wayward. But partiality can be considered as part of it. That's what I can say for now. We can consider that as part of the reason why children or any child can be wayward. But there's a lot of reasons out there why a lot of children are, acting crazy. So
good. What about Shegsy?
Well, I like to say, like my other colleagues have said, there are reasons, countless of reasons why children become wayward, but there are so many reasons. I would just say children become wayward, not just partiality or favoritism.
Nice.
Yeah.
So continuing in this discussion, I would like to say I've heard you guys say three major things. Oh, let me say two. You said favoritism and you said partiality, right? So I want you guys to expatiate more on the issue of on those statements, or like on the word favoritism. So like let me start with Shegsy. Why can you like expatiate a little bit on favoritism?
Well, to me, favoritism is when a parent choose another kid over the other, and they show it without remorse to the other children. I can say that's favoritism. That means this child is the one I loved, and I will protect him. I will do anything for him, compared to other children in the family. So that's what I can say about that.
Good. You have any other view on favoritism, Bella?
Just to back what he said up, because it's all the same thing. When you feel like, oh, this child doesn't deserve this, it doesn't deserve ill treatment, why the other one deserves ill treatment. This is mainly common among female and male. Sometimes parents feel like you need to undo the female, you need to be more careful about the female child or kids more than the male, because they are open to early pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy. So because they don't want them to bring that shame upon them, they believe they are the one they should focus more on, more than the boys, which is not right. That's the favoritism.
Nice. So, what's your view, Yomi?
Yeah, I don't really know where you really want us to focus on
the favoritism.
Yeah, but I want to say, you know, favoritism sometimes is beyond reason, it's beyond explanation. Sometimes sometimes some people don't have the reason why, they just choose somebody over the other. You know, some people, you know, it's always common when there is two people involved or two personalities. Sorry, it's always common, it always starts when there is two personalities, and sometimes for whatever reason you just decide that you are loving or liking this particular person over the other for no reason sometimes. But you know, from talking about parents, favoritism coming from the angle of parents right now, there's a lot of factors that we can attribute that to. Sometimes it could be as a result of a child being more obedient than the other, and sometimes, you know, it could be as a result of culture. You know, we coming from the African, or let me say Nigerian perspective right now, like sometimes, you know, most parents decide to choose male children over the female because they feel like, yeah, he's going to retain the family name forever, and the other girl is going to
be married off.
You know, she will be taken away, and so because of that, sometimes, you know, this makes the issue of favoritism to come up among family. And another thing is that the way father practice favoritism, or the reason behind father choosing a child over the other child, is sometimes is different from the mother. So, but you know, whichever way we talk about it, is that the truth is that favoritism is real, is common. So I don't know where you really want us to focus on.
Yeah, to our audience, I want you guys also to like give your knowledge about favoritism. What do you think favoritism is? And that brings me to my next question. So aside favoritism, we know partiality is very, very common. Everybody might know the meaning of partiality. Partiality happens, like, it's just similar to favoritism, but there is some little difference underneath, and which I think is very clear to everybody. So my next question is, like, aside from partiality and favoritism, when talking about like the humanity form, or the aspect of like man-to-man activity, what other things do we think causes waywardness, like in children, in teens, in teenagers? I mean, what other ways? So I'll direct my question to Bewa.
One of the factors, or one of the reasons of the things that causes waywardness in children, I would say when they are too open to what they are not supposed to be open to. For instance, in my days, when I say my days, I mean when we were growing up, we don't have access to phones, we don't have access to YouTube. But give a phone to a toddler, he knows where to go to on your phone, he knows how to maneuver. So we don't, let me say, the access, the exposure to things that they are not immature enough to watch. If you check YouTube, there are some videos they rate PG, parental guidance. Do we guide them? Do we even monitor what our kids watch on their tablets, on their phones? All these kids, they have phones. So that's one of the reasons why children become wayward. Because if you have a child that watches porn, a lot of them watch porn. If you have a child that watches porn on a phone, you don't expect that child. You will expect that child to practice this one day.
Of course,
she wants to try what she has been watching. There was this case of these kids, I forgot the state here in United States, that they went to stay over at their friend's place, and they watch all this vampire movie and all that. The next day when they got to school, they had to, somebody saw them in the bathroom or something, practicing it, trying to kill someone, that they want to drink blood, they want to see how it tastes. You see, that's exposure to things they are not supposed to be watching.
Exposure.
Thank you.
Nice. Exposure. Good. That's a good point. So I would ask Yomi, what other ways do you think? Now we've gotten favoritism, we've gotten exposure. What other thing do you think causes waywardness among children, teenagers, or young adults?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, most things that happen, a lot of things happens to people that we can't really explain it. That's where we start from. Sometimes a lot of things happen that you yourself will not even be able to explain why you are acting this way. We have a lot of children whereby their parents are very conscious of everything that happens. In fact, they are in charge, but yet it happens among the children or the children from Christian homes. You know, there's a lot of kids. There are kids out there whose parents are pastors, they are leaders, they are, you know, people that people look up to, and they are always in charge of their home. They are aware, you know, they know about all these things. They even help a lot of families. But at the end of the day, we discover that after a long time, after so many years, they discover that their children belongs to one evil society. They discover that their children are following friends to unwanted places like club. You know, some of the children are even, you know, practice a lot of evil that the parent will be shocked if they hear about this. And you know, from the stories we had, from the little experience we are able to gather, sometimes when they ask these kind of people what led you into all these kind of things, some of them will tell you they don't know. So there's, you know, it's beyond explanation sometimes, but we know that there's a lot of parents who handle this with, you know, nonchalant attitude. They feel like we are in civilized world now. The children should be allowed to do whatever they like. But sometimes, you know, in a situation whereby the parent practice everything they could and the children is still being wayward, you know, what can we call it? You know, it's still beyond explanation.
Basically, like, that is like an unexplainable action of something you just did without maybe no trigger or something. You just find yourself in that state doing it. Well, that's acceptable. And I also ask Chelsea, what other things do you think?
To my own best of knowledge, I would say mindset. Like Bella said, during that time, when during our own time of growing up, we didn't have access to phones, to internet, but still we still have children that went wayward.
Yes,
sure.
During our own time of growing up, I would say our mindset, the society affects the children. So it depends on the society that a child lives in. The environment of the child lives affects the child and can make him wayward. For instance, now, my dad used to live in a place in Lagos called Idioro, and in Idioro there are so many touts. They call them area boys, and on the streets you see people smoking. They will bring out bands, you know, Fuji sets on Friday night. You see girls. So the mindset, the environment attracted the mindset. So now if I see that there is a Fuji band and it's free, I can go there. So it's what my mind will be attracted to it, and I will go because what I have absorbed it into my mind. So there are so many ways that the mind can be manipulated in the society. So the society also manipulates the mind of the kids. So that's why we have to be careful of, you know, the people that our kids mingle with. You know, the environment we raise our kids to also affects them. The school they go to. For instance, now you in here in America, you take a child to just only black school. I'm not against, you know, black school because I'm a black man, but you know, whereby there is no mixture of white and black and other races, you know, the culture also will affect that child in school. So what you don't think the child will be knowing, the child might be knowing it. For instance, now a child from east side comes to north central, and a child from north side comes to north central. The child from the east side that has been exposed to gun violence, to exposed to prostitution, and brings it to school would affect the child from the north side who doesn't have that mindset. So that's what I can say about that.
Nice. That's also a very cogent point. I really appreciate that.
I would like to talk about something, like when Yomi was talking, he said something about parents being a pastor and yet their children still become wayward, something like that. Yeah, that's right. But I would taking our time to look at the reasons, because saying all this, we can't still neglect the fact that some parents, they don't devote their time for their children.
So they devote more of their time to their congregation.
To their congregation.
True.
Living there, they have this saying that when you do God's work, God will do your own.
Without
True.
checking your own family.
Checking your own family.
Yeah.
They leave them. That's why we always say, why is it that pastors, because there's always this question, why is it that pastors' children, they're always weak? Some of them will be we say that we have example in the Bible. Eli, must your own kids be like Eli?
There's even this particular saying they usually say that they will say, is it because like the pastors and those people, they are working for God, so like the devil doesn't want them to like concentrate on God and use their children like to drag them from them.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes
too many video, too many.
I feel like there's a lot of deceit nowadays, even among Christians. There's a lot of deceit.
Yeah.
If we ask the reason why a lot of people are pastors or Christians nowadays, why a lot of people are so religious, is because of what they want to earn
from God,
from the practice. And that's the reason why, because if we are to look at who are the people that are supposed to be that are supposed to be better in the society, people who are supposed to be on the top doing well, these people supposed to be these religious people, the pastors, a lot of them. Do you know the reason why? If we are to be real as a Christian, as a Muslim, if a lot of people have to be real, like the ancient Christians, the ancient religious people used to be, a lot of people will never choose to be what they claim to be today.
Exactly.
Do you know, even we know there's a lot of fake ones out there, but I'm still talking about those that claims to be the real one. People who are not mixing something else with what they claims to practice. Do you know the reason why a lot of pastors fast and pray? It's still because of their own selfish reasons. You know why?
When you're blessed.
And this, talking about God, I believe, like what one of you said the other time, if you do the work of God, you can't do something for God, or you can't partner with God and lose.
Yeah.
You can't do, if you are really doing the work of God or whatever, God will do your own.
Sure.
We can't remove that.
Yes.
But do you know this God? He created everybody. He sees you more than you sees yourself.
Yeah.
He knows the reason why you are, even running after God wholeheartedly, doing his work wholeheartedly. He knows the intent of your heart. He knows why you are following him. He knows you are not following him genuinely. He knows you are following him because
of money.
This business is the best, is the one that is really reigning in town right now.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why sometimes he decides to fold his hands. Let me tell you, a lot of people fast genuinely. They pray genuinely.
Yeah.
Do you ask what most prayer points are? They don't pray for themselves. Most of them don't pray for themselves.
Sure.
You see
Most
the prayer points like, God, do this so that they will know you call me. So that you are this. A lot of times they pray and fast without even involving themselves.
Family.
If they will have to pray for themselves, they pray about material things. And we can't deceive God. You can't play him. And that's the reason why. That's the reason why sometimes we talk about genuine pastors, genuine Christians who are doing the work of God, and their children are wayward. But for coming from another angle, there was a prophet in the Bible, Eli. He was really doing the work of God. The Bible didn't record that he's not serving God wholeheartedly. But yet the children are wayward. But from what we learned from the story of Eli and his children was because he handled it with
Levity.
with levity hand.
Yeah.
He handle it with, he's like, yeah, God is in charge. Let God do whatever he
And that's
wants.
what's still going on right now.
Yeah.
So, but there are some parents, there are some pastors. I think from our previous talk, we talk about how some parents are being harsh, whereby they don't allow their kids to express themselves or whatever. And this is part of the factors that is affecting both in the negative and the, some parents have the positive aspect. I don't want, like growing up, my father, my mom, they were like, yeah, not in this house that you guys will be like the children of Belial. They are referring you to Ophir and Phinehas, the children of Eli. So and in the process of that, sometimes they do more than what they should. You understand? But talking about all these things, it's only God that can really correct us.
Yes.
But I think part of the reason why we are saying all this is for us to help one another. Yes. So that let's see if we are moving to this side too much, just to strike a balance, to maintain moderation.
To add to what Yomi have just said, some people are scared of going to hellfire.
Yes.
Majority of Christians, if they ask them, why are you serving God?
I
don't want to go to hellfire. So they will want to serve that God and walk.
They don't care about
their riches. They don't just to get to heaven. And whereby in the curriculum of God has a chain of reaction. Number one is God himself. Number two is the man, that's the head of the family, who is the foundation of the family. Number two is the mom, the woman, and number three is the children. So God, you don't expect God to break the reaction, the chain reaction, and jump over the father, the mother, and go and start taking care of the children. No, God won't do that. And that's where most so-called men of God are missing it. If they are able to check that chain of reaction and amend it, it will not storm the way it is turning right now. So therefore, one thing I'll just say is, let's the men, we so-called men of God or children of God, check our families. Not only we are serving God, we are looking up to God. Yeah, the Bible says, look up to me, the author and the finisher of my faith, but still look to your family too. God is expecting you as a man, as the head, because you are the foundation. You are the foundation of the house, and if anything happens to the foundation of the house, it will collapse. So as a man, as the head of the house, look into your family. What is going on? Sit down with your children, sit down with your wife. Thereby God himself will be able to now say, okay, since this man is doing his own part in his family, also I will do it with him.
Which means there's men's part and
there's God's part.
Men's part.
That's why we are like dwelling on men's part now, and that's what brought us to that question now. And now, thank you guys, I really appreciate it.